Hi, I'm Avery Okamura. We are here at the Magic Flute in San Rafael, California. I am a sales associate and guitar technician here at the store. I also teach and play in a band called One Arm Joey in the Bay Area, and I'm going to teach you how to restring your guitar and ukulele. I used to hate restringing my guitar. I never did it. It wasn't until I learned how to do it properly that I started doing it more consistently. Knowing how to restring your guitar is crucial to keeping it in good playable condition. It's also good to be able to restring that high E that breaks 10 minutes before your set, so you're not asking the sound guy to restring your guitar for you. Now, 3 important things I want to mention before we start is you need to be comfortable with tuning your instrument before you start restringing. You might decide to go with a clip-on tuner, or you might go with a tuning fork such as this if you're a little more comfortable with relying on your ear to tune. We'll get more into these in a minute. Another thing I want to mention is when you are done restringing, you are going to need to stretch your strings no matter what kind of guitar you're using. The material of metal or nylon, if you're going classical guitar or ukulele, are both materials that can be bent, therefore stretched. So before it's going to settle and stay in tune, you are going to have to take care of that first. Last thing I want to mention is take your time, be neat, be clean, and remember you don't need to tie a bunch of Boy Scout knots around the tuning post to ensure stable tuning. Besides a tuner, a couple other tools I would recommend would be any kind of wire or string cutter. You can get these at a hardware store or here at the Magic Flute. And a string winder. If you don't have one of these, you are going to have to do the strings all by hand, which can cramp up your hand after a while. This just makes it a lot faster and a lot easier. As far as a surface you should be working on, it's nice to have something soft to put underneath your guitar. We have this lovely Fender placemat, but you can also use a soft blanket, a towel. For a neck rest, we have a neck cradle here, but you can also use a bag of flour or sugar, put a t-shirt on it, whatever is easily accessible for you, just to keep the neck of your guitar elevated. When you go to your local music store, such as the Magic Flute, a couple kinds of strings you want to look out for your steel string acoustic are 80/20 bronze, such as these, which are going to be brighter and have sort of a gold hue. The other are phosphor bronze, which are going to have more of a copper hue. They're going to be warmer, fuller. I definitely prefer them for more heavy picking styles. As far as string gauge goes, 12s are going to be what come on most acoustic guitars. These are standard light. If you wanted to go 11s, those are going to be a little easier on your fingers up in the first position, especially with bar chords. If you wanted to go with mediums, which would be 13s, you are probably going to get a little more volume, but there is going to be a little extra tension to work with as well. Okay, let's get into the demo now. We're going to start with the low E. Take your string winder. We're going to put it right on this tuning peg. I always like to pluck the string beforehand, just to make sure we know we're coming down and not bringing the string up and accidentally snapping it. After we get the string nice and loose, we can use our string cutters to cut the string. I always like to take this off, toss it. Next, we're going to take the bridge pin out, and on your string winder, you're typically going to have a little notch at the end there. That is for removing your bridge pin. So you can just slip that right underneath and pull up. And pull the string right out. And again, just to be neat, always like to wrap that string up before we throw it away. Now, when you open up your pack of strings, you'll probably notice a guide here for all of the strings in the pack. If you accidentally lose this and have your strings all lying about, you don't know which ones are which, just remember the plain strings are always going to be B and E. And for the wound strings, you can lay them side by side and pretty easily see the size difference between the 4 strings. All right, now we are ready to put our first new string on the guitar. We're going to put the ball end right in here, And we're gonna take our bridge pin, and as you can see, there's a groove, a channel running through that bridge pin, and that is where the string is going to sit. So we wanna put this facing the neck of the guitar, and when we push it down into the guitar, we wanna pull up on the string as well so that it locks in place. And if you look down there, you should be able to start to see just a little bit of that winding coming up to the top of the bridge. Now, one of the questions I get asked about the most is how much string slack to use. This is my golden trick. I take my 5 fingers, I put them on the 5th fret of the guitar, and I let the string rest over it, not so that it's putting a bunch of pressure on my hand, but just enough to where it's lightly sitting across my thumb. Now what I can do is start winding, and you always want to make sure you're winding the correct way so that your string is coming inwards. What I also like to do is put the first wind on top of the string and the rest of them underneath. Now, like I said, you don't need to do any crazy knots or wraps or anything. This is just a simple locking mechanism that isn't going to make your next restring a hassle. All right, and after we got that on there securely, we can take our winder, wind it up. All right, so now we have the string on. What I'm going to do is take our clip-on tuner, tune up to pitch. After we tune up to pitch, we can clip our excess string. And now we want to stretch. So if we're stretching the string, you just want to lightly tug around the 12th fret, because that's going to be the center point of your scale. Check your tuning again. You should be sometimes even a third down. And the more you stretch your string, the closer it's going to get to your pitch. So that time we were just a half step off. All right, and that one was just a quarter step off. So now we know that the string has been fully stretched. So now I'm going to do the rest of the strings the same way, and we'll check in when I'm done. All right, so we have our acoustic all restrung and stretched out. Another thing I want to mention really quick is making sure you have the right amount of winds on each tuning post. The reason why I do the 5 fingers on the 5th fret is it allows me to have at least 2 windings down the post after the string, which is going to be what you want. Anything less than that can affect your tuning stability and could make you potentially break a string. Now you're probably asking, Avery, I don't play guitar, I play ukulele. My apologies. Let's talk about ukulele now. If we are restringing our ukulele, a lot of the same things carry over to guitar and vice versa. The main difference with nylon string instruments in general is typically they're going to have a tie bridge. Now with a tie bridge, you don't have a ball end to put into the body, so instead you need to do a tie. All right, so we're going to take our ukulele string here and we're going to feed it through the top of the bridge. And depending on which way the strings are going, if they're going towards you or away from you, that will determine if you cross over from the inside or the outside. Because our strings are going away from us, we're going to come on the inside here, go right behind, and then we're going to tie a knot through this loop. We're doing that twice. And after we do that twice, all we need to do is grab our slack and our string, pull. Look at that beautiful little knot right there. Now we're going to feed our string through our tuner up top. And one thing to keep in mind that I mentioned before, these are nylon strings, and nylon is a very soft material. So these are going to take a little longer to stretch than a steel string typically would. And because of this, we don't really need as much room between the tuner and the bridge here. So what I usually do is just pull the string all the way through, so it's pretty much tight. And then I bring the string back around and feed it through the tuner one more time. And from there, we can start winding our string. And again, we want to make sure we're winding on the inside of the tuning post. And because this is an A string, I'm going to be using the tuning fork, as I mentioned before. With the tuning fork, it's probably going to be more helpful if you already have developed enough ear that you can determine pitches by just listening to them. So what you want to do, hit the tuning fork against a hard surface, place it on our instrument, and we can use that as a reference pitch while tuning up. You might find, man, these nylon strings take a long time to tune up. Well, if you want, you can whip out the big gun. So now, let's listen with our tuning fork again. All right, we'll stretch our string. And now you'll hear how much more the nylon string has to stretch. Quite a lot. Do it one more time. All right, now we are in tune. We can clip our excess string. And play our instrument. And that's really all there is to it. You do need some tools. It does take a little bit of practice. I'm not gonna lie and say you're gonna get it right away. It will take a couple times to really get comfortable with it. But I think that when you will, you're gonna find that your instrument is gonna be playing and sounding way better. It's probably gonna make you want to take care of your instrument just a little extra. If there are any questions I didn't answer today, always feel free to email us or call us, or you can come in. We're always here to help you. We are open 7 days a week here at 182 Northgate 1 in San Rafael, California. Thank you again. My name is Avery, and happy restring.